All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're going to demystify a really feature-dense manufacturing ERP by walking through a complete end-to-end business lifecycle using Tekvion ManuFlow. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed trying to figure out how a raw material actually transforms into a build product on the system side, well, you're in the right place. We are going to trace that entire unbroken thread. What's actually super interesting about this software is how it tackles chaos. It literally replaces the absolute mess of disconnected purchasing, stores, production, and finance records with just one single unified flow of data. So this isn't just about digitizing some paper. It's about connecting every single operational action to a real financial reality. We're looking at a truly complete end-to-end workflow here, making sure absolutely nothing gets lost in translation between departments. To really anchor this explainer in reality, we're going to follow a day in the life of our demo company, PrimeCut Demo Industries. Just picture them as your typical mid-size manufacturer. Today, their mission is pretty simple, but it involves a lot of moving parts. They need to buy some raw PET plastic film from a supplier and then manufacture printed laminate rolls to sell to a specific customer. So, here is our supply chain roadmap for today. First, foundation and master data. Then, the procure-to-pay journey, shop floor production execution, the order-to-dispatch workflow, and finally, financials and dashboards. Kicking things off with Section 1, Foundation and Master Data. This is all about getting the system set up. So here's the deal. Before we can do anything, we absolutely have to define our master data. Think of it as the single source of truth for the whole company. For PrimeCut Demo Industries, this means setting up our standard 18% GST tax rate, defining our main warehouse down in Chennai so the system knows exactly where our inventory sits, and officially registering our trusted supplier, Apex Polymers. By doing this setup just once, we prevent all that duplicate data entry and those frustrating errors down the line. Leaving the setup phase behind, we're moving right along to Section 2, the procure-to-pay journey. This is all about bringing stuff in. Okay, so we trigger this whole procure-to-stock flow by officially raising a purchase order, a PO for 500 kilograms of PET film. But, as we know, creating a PO is just a promise, right? When that delivery truck actually rolls up to the Chennai warehouse, we physically receive the goods via an inward entry in the system. And at that exact moment, the software generates a goods receipt note and a unique item QR code. It basically gives that physical batch of film a digital identity that we can track anywhere. But then we hit the inspection phase. And, this is where we usually discover that physical reality doesn't exactly match the purchase order. Out of the 500 kilos we received, our quality team accepts 490 kilos for the warehouse stock and formally rejects 10 kilos because of some edge damage. And the software logs this perfectly. It sets up that 10-kilogram batch for a potential supplier return and a debit note, without us losing track of a single gram. It's brilliant for traceability. All right, stepping onto the production floor now for Section 3, shop floor production execution. Time to actually make the product. Now, before we fire up the machines, we really need to clarify a pretty nuanced choice in the system. ManuFlow actually gives you two paths here, production orders and work orders. Production orders are super focused on material planning, just making sure you have enough stock to build a thing. Work orders, on the flip side, are designed to directly execute a sales-linked manufacturing process right on the shop floor. For PrimeCut, since we are building this specifically for a waiting customer, we're going to go ahead and use a work order. So let's pull up a work order and watch how this builds. To keep total control, the system strictly enforces a step-by-step transition sequence on the shop floor. We start at planned, then we move to in slitting, then slitting completed, we enter in production, and finally we hit completed. You absolutely cannot skip a step. No way. The system demands that reality matches the digital record, yielding our finished goods, those printed laminate rolls, only when that final step is officially logged. Okay, so our printed laminate rolls are sitting nicely in finished goods. Let's hit Section 4, Order to Dispatch Workflow. Let's push this product out. Similar to the production side, the software gives us a bit of a flexible overlap here, depending on how your company operates. You can use customer orders to capture that early upstream demand, what the customer says they want, but the sales order? That's the formal, financially binding commercial commitment that actually feeds into your delivery and invoicing systems. For our complete end-to-end flow today, we've locked in a formal sales order for our buyer, Fresh Glow Foods. All right, time to fulfill that sales order. We're dispatching 100 roles by creating a delivery challan. And the system is super rigorous here. It validates this dispatch straight against the original sales order source. It double-checks that we have positive delivery quantities and strictly prevents any duplicate part lines, making sure we don't accidentally double ship or miscount. It's only after it passes all those checks that it generates the official shipping PDF for the truck driver. Which brings us to our final act, Section 5, Financials and Dashboards, the financial finish. This is where the magic really happens, closing the loop. It proves that every physical action we took has an exact financial equivalent. When we bill our customer, that sales invoice links directly back to the delivery challan we just made, automatically feeding our receivables. And when we pay our vendor, the supplier invoice meticulously reconciles back to the original purchase order and GRN. The data literally just flows forward, no double entry, which means zero manual data entry errors. And I have to point out, the system protects your financial integrity relentlessly. Say we need to process a customer return and create a credit note. Well, it has to follow this rigid approval lifecycle. Draft to approved to posted. And here is the real kicker. Once a financial document is posted, it absolutely cannot be edited, period. It is locked into the financial history, ensuring total audit compliance. Because we've kept up this pristine data hygiene all the way from master data to invoicing, it all feeds straight into the business value dashboard. The system can just automatically calculate these complex operational metrics for management, like this inventory ABC classification right here. It dynamically categorizes our stock into high, medium, and low-value segments based on real-time data. It's like having a constant pulse on your assets. And honestly, the speed of this visibility is what's really impressive. That operational dashboard, it refreshes every 5 minutes automatically. That means metrics like pending orders, delayed production workflows, or critical low stock alerts are constantly up to date. It gives decision makers a near real-time view of the entire factory floor and the company's financial health. So we've just traced a single unbroken thread, right? A complete end-to-end journey from setting up a warehouse to purchasing, making the product, shipping it out, and finally getting billed. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick thought. Take a look at your own daily operations. Ask yourself, how seamlessly connected is your strategic vision to your actual ground-level operational reality? Thanks so much for learning with me today, and keep exploring those complete end-to-end connections.